Well, at ease, paratroopers. If you like that reference from HBO's hit series, Band of Brothers, you're going to like this podcast. My name is Kevin Kidder, and after 20 years in the Army, I discovered something unexpected. The toughest battles weren't behind me, they were just different. This is the Enduring Mindset podcast. Here in our inaugural season, The Invisible Veteran, we'll explore what it takes to reclaim purpose, rebuild identity, and restore connection after service. This podcast isn't just for veterans, it's for anyone navigating transition leaders, spouses, teammates, anyone asking, who am I now and what comes next? Each week, I'll share lessons from my journey, stories from others who've walked similar paths, and tools to help you build what I call an enduring mindset. One forged through adversity, guided by purpose, and grounded in service to others. Before we dive in, I just want to say thank you for being here. I know there are literally thousands of other things you could be listening to, and the fact you chose this podcast means a lot. My hope is that you'll walk away each week with something useful story, a reminder, or even just a little encouragement. If you've been with me since the teaser or episode 1, you may notice the intro was a little different. For a while, I've been toying with using a pseudonym, something that might pop, something slick. And if I'm being honest, I was thinking too far ahead. I was thinking about the podcast gaining traction, about the book being published, and how I might need, a pseudonym to have more anonymity to protect my privacy. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how absurd that was. Kidder is the name God gave me when he chose my family. It's my father's name. It's my grandfather's name. It's my son's name, my uncle's, and my cousin's name. How can I come on here and talk about identity and legacy and not use my real name? So here I am, Kevin Kidder, at your service. And today, instead of starting at the beginning, I want to Tarantino this thing. I want to start at the end of your life with your eulogy. Romans chapter 12, verses 10 through 12 says this: Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Okay, that's not just advice. It's not an implied task, it is a specified task. Never be lacking in zeal. Imagine your time on earth is over. Your service is being held. Who's in the room? Who stands up to speak? And here's the real question: what are they saying? Are they simply listing your accomplishments? Or are they talking about your character, your impact, the way you made them feel? You see, a eulogy isn't just a speech, it's the culminating event reflecting thousands of small choices made every single day over the span of a lifetime. Choices that shape not only how we'll be remembered, but how we choose to live right now. About a month ago, early August, the NFL had its Pro Football Hall of Fame induction, and Jared Allen was one of the class of 2025. I mean, just imagine the gravity of that moment. One of the biggest moments of his life, the culmination of years of sacrifice, discipline, and greatness. And in that moment, wearing the gold jacket, standing on that stage, he turned to his wife and daughters and said, when I get called home to heaven one day, if all they talk about is this gold jacket, my career, then I failed miserably as a father, a husband, and a friend. And then he zeroed in on his daughters and said, you two are my legacy. You are both so talented, and I cannot wait to see what you decide to do to conquer this world. So always put Christ first, find your why, dream big dreams, and always pursue greatness in whatever you do. Dude, I lost it. Why? Because Jared Allen gets it. He's a father. I'm a father. He understands that it's we before me. It's about making a positive impact in this world. It's about choosing legacy over lifestyle. Legacy is about impact. It's about what lasts. It's about how we made others stronger, braver, and feel loved because of the way we lived. Lifestyle is about comfort. It's about what's easy, about what we can get. It's about look at me. Legacy isn't about accomplishments. It's about love. It's about service. It's about the fire you live with. And that's zeal, right? Going back to the passage I read earlier, that's living with urgency and passion. And whether you've been with me from the beginning or this is your first episode, I'll catch you up. Um, I lived in Michigan after retiring from the Army. My wife and I moved here a couple months ago at the beginning of July. Once we got settled in, the first thing to do was find a church. And we were having dinner with a couple of friends, and they all said, go to this church. We're like, okay, cool. We go, and that passage was read, and I've never felt more personally attacked in a good way in my entire life. Why? Because in that moment, when I saw those words and I heard those words, I realized I had not been living with zeal. It had been some time since I had any spice, any zeal in my life. I allowed myself to worry about the future and be consumed with what if and stopped living in the now and in the present. Additionally, in that sermon, the pastor talks about getting off the bench and getting into the game of life, and specifically with your faith. And while my heart was on fire and I wanted to do it, I was ready to run through a brick wall, man. It was a great sermon. But if I'm being honest, I was nervous. And if you're like me, if you've felt fear or anxiety, if you've been insecure or even felt unworthiness, that's not God. Second Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline." So if you're feeling afraid or nervous or unworthy, again, that's not God. That's the enemy. God has given you a spirit of power, of love, and of discipline, and that's your fuel for zeal. And here's the best part, no matter where you are, you can change direction immediately. Jocko Willink says it perfectly when he talks about becoming disciplined. He always says, start right now, not tomorrow, not on Monday, not at the new year, right now. You can stop feeling afraid, anxious, and unworthy. It's not easy, but it is a choice. You can choose to hunt the good stuff, choose to find the silver lining, to choose to have and live a life with zeal. If you don't like where you are, who you are, or what your eulogy might sound like, make the change. Do it. Do it right now. You don't need permission. But if you do, if you need reassurance, God has already given it to you. He's probably watching, He's waiting, He's begging for you to step into your zealous self, to become the you He divinely created you to be. So here's the mission: don't wait for the eulogy. Live your legacy now. Medal of Honor recipient Dakota Meyer says it best: make the most out of the dash. To expound on that a little bit, he says, on our gravestones, there will be two dates: the day you were born and the day you die, and they will be separated by a dash. Make the most out of the dash. Don't wait for the eulogy. The book of Romans tells us never be lacking in zeal. Timothy reminds us fear does not come from God. So live boldly, love fiercely, speak honestly, work earnestly, pray fervently, and serve faithfully. My challenge to you this week: write your own eulogy, even if it's just a paragraph. No, it's not morbid. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want people to say? That's not selfish. That's providing an op order for your life. Ask yourself, who's going to be in the room? Why are they there? What is it I hope they will say? And then go live a life that writes the eulogy for them. Thank you for listening to the Enduring Mindset podcast. If this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend, family member, colleague, anyone who might need it. If you don't mind, give us a follow on Instagram at enduring underscore mindset underscore enterprise. We'd love to hear from you, especially if any of the weekly tasks or missions have helped you out. Until next time, onward, forward, fall out.